Here we go. Hello, everyone. I'm just getting these cookies ready for the safari kids. They usually get here in the afternoon and they're very hungry, so I like to have a surprise ready for them. And these cookies have oats in them, but you have to open them up to see the oats. They're very, very yummy. Hello, all of you. Hey, what have you got there?
Well, remember we were talking about rocks and how you can find diamonds in them? Well, we found these rocks, and we were wondering if they're worth a lot of money.
Okay, slow down. Put them on the table and let's have a look. Okay, now, Andrew, this is your rock, right? And you see these little sparkly bits in it? Well, those are called crystals. And can you remember what we call this kind of rock?
Well, I was wondering if it was how do you say it? Igneous.
Can anyone remember that funny name?
Igneous?
Yes, that's right. Now, can anyone spell it? I'll tell you what. You see this plate of cookies that I just baked?
Yes.
Well, the first person to spell igneous correctly wins a cookie.
Let me go.
Okay.
I-G-N-I.
No, next.
I-G-N-I.
No, sorry, next.
I-G-N-E-O-U-S.
Yes, very good. Okay, you get a cookie.
Oh, you so
Oh, okay, you can all have a cookie.
What? Hey, I don't understand. Hey, is this a spelling competition? Oh, dear. Oh, I'm very bad at spelling. And I couldn't spell Iggy, Wiggy, Niggy, whatever it is. Hey, what is it? I've forgotten, but, yeah, but I think it's got something to do with rocks. Oh, dear. I hope they're not going to have to spell any more words. Oh. What?
Now, this rock is different. This is sedimentary rock.
Gosh, Jeff, you know so many big words.
And you know what? In 5 minutes, you're going to know them too. So how clever does that make you, huh?
Hey, I never thought of igneous and sedimentary.
Sedimentary. Now, how can I explain this? Okay, I tell you what, Dali, will you go outside and put some sand into this jar? Okay, off you go. Now, while he's gone, let's just make sure we know how to spell sedimentary. You're going to spell it with me. Okay? S-E-D-I-M-E-T-A-R-Y. Sedimentary. Brilliant.
Cool.
Now, we'll just wait for Dali to come back in, and then I'll show you what we're going to do with that sand.
Okay.
Come on, Dali. Hurry up. Come inside here. Come on, Dali. I don't need you to rip up now. Let me go fetch Dali. I'll be back now. Dali, come. Thanks, Dali. I was worried you got lost outside there, eh? Okay, so now I'm going to take this jar that Dali put sand into, and I'm going to pour water into it, like this. Check it out. Yeah, you'll see what happens now. Okay, now I'm just going to swirl it. And what do you think will happen here?
The water's gonna get thicker.
No, not actually. Have a look at this. You see, the water is settling down, and the little stones that were in the sand have gone to the bottom.
Why do they do that?
Because the stones are heavier than the water. And then see, there's muddy sand that's also sunk to the bottom. That's the sediment that has settled at the bottom of the glass.
So why is that like a stone?
Well, if you imagine a river that's running quite fast, Like this river here. As it swirls along, it's strong and powerful, and the movement makes the rocks and sand move along with it. But look what happens now. As the water reaches this large pond, it starts to slow down and is much calmer. Can you see there aren't any rocks floating on the surface of the water? What's happened now is that as the water has slowed down and is calmer, all the rocks, stones, and sand have settled at the bottom of the pond. So the stuff that sinks to the bottom of rivers and seas and lakes is called sediment. Have a look at this. That's all the stuff that's heavier than the water and sinks to the bottom.
But how is that rock?
Well, what happens over thousands of years is that more and more sediment packs down on the seabed and is squashed by the sea until it gets harder and harder until it's rock hard. And then you have sedimentary rock. So you see where we get the name from?
Yeah.
Right? The sediment that lands at the bottom. So the rock that is formed is called sedimentary. And sedimentary rock also forms in layers over thousands of years.
That sounds easy enough, but it really is a hard word to remember.
Harder than igneous.
No, much easier than that.
You know, sometimes it's not just mud and rock that you find at the bottom. Sometimes you can find other interesting things at the bottom of the sea or in the riverbeds. Can you imagine what that might be?
Old tires?
Yes, lots of man-made things are found at the bottom of rivers when they're heavier than the water.
But that's only because people are really untidy and throw things into the rivers. I think it's awful.
It's not good, is it? It's really littering in a big way. But other than the rubbish that we throw away, what else?
Fish?
Fish, yes. But if they're lying on the bottom, they're probably dead. And they'd have to be pretty heavy fish to end up at the bottom of a river. And what else?
Dead animals?
Good. Yes, animals that have somehow found their way into the water. Over the years, they're covered with more mud and rock until they are pressed onto the bottom by the weight of the sea. And then thousands of years later, they actually become part of the rock. Now, this is a tough one. Sometimes scientists find them. And do you know what animals or fish or, say, a shellfish is called when it becomes part of a rock thousands of years later?
I've heard this word before. It sounds something like candy floss.
Oh, yes. It's called a fossil. So scientists find these creatures that have been turned into parts of rocks over thousands of years. And so that's how they know about animals and insects that are no longer living on the earth, that have died out hundreds of years ago.
How cool is that?
Yes.
Cool, man.
It's a bit like finding hidden treasure, isn't it? Like the oats inside these cookies, huh? Have a look at that.
There's lots of them.
Yeah, and they taste very nice.
And smell good.
Hey, Marvin.
Yeah, well, Marvin.
Hey, you know, some people talk a lot of rubbish.
Yes, Marvin, I know that. Remember, I live with you.
Oh, that hurts, Marvin. Anyway, you know, people really talk rubbish.
What happened?
Well, you know the Popeyane, eh?
Yeah.
Well, he was riding on his bicycle yesterday and he hit a rock.
Ouch.
His bicycle hit it so hard that the rock broke open.
Wow, that was some crash.
Well, it was a little rock anyway. The hyenas were passing by and they stopped and looked at the rock. And you know what they said? They said there was a snail in the middle of the rock.
What? A snail living in the rock?
No, a dead snail right in the middle of the rock. They are so tricky, those hyenas, you know? They talk such rubbish and people believe them.
Well, actually, they might have been right, you know.
About a dead snail right in the middle of the rock?
Yes, it might have been a fossil.
A fossil? Is that some kind of snail that lives in the rock?
No, no, no. It's a snail that died and became part of the rock.
You know, Marvin, Sometimes you talk as much rubbish as the hyenas, you know?
Now, this is a very interesting rock. Do you know what it is?
I think my dad called it marble.
It's not a marble.
No, it's not marble like the toy. This is a stone that's called marble.
Why is it so interesting?
Well, because this is metamorphic rock.
More big words?
Yes, but this is a good one. Metamorphic. Metamorphic. All right, that comes from the word metamorphosis, which means to change. So what do you think that tells us about this rock?
That it's changed.
Yes, igneous and sedimentary rocks can change if they're made really, really hot, or if they're put under a lot of pressure when a lot of weight is put onto them. And then they can change into metamorphic rocks. Like this. This marble used to be limestone.
Yo, my head is beginning to hurt with all this information.
Mine too. My head will feel a lot better maybe if I had another cookie.
Okay, who wants a cookie, everyone? Well, thanks. Great, I'll have this little one here. Did you bite it?
do that?
Is this yours? Did you bite it? That's disgusting. You know, we'll talk about germs later. I'll tell you about germs and bacteria.
Igneous, sedimentary, metamorphic. Igneous, sedimentary, metamorphic. It's clear to see. If you are an ick, you went through the fire. If you are a set, you went squashed, flat, flat. If you are a mat, you used to be either shoop, shoop, doo-doo, shoop, shoop, doo-doo. And this is how the rock song goes. Yeah, shoop, shoop, doo-doo, shoop, shoop, doo-doo.
What? Hey, so it wasn't a spelling test. Yippee! But I still think those kids have learned some very hard words, eh? Iggy, niggy, seminentary, me and morph, ick. Shoo! I think they are very, very clever to know those words. Never mind how to spell them. What? Shoo!
Wow, what an interesting day. You know, scientists have found fossils all over the world. They've even found them right here in our beautiful country, South Africa. Why don't you try and find out about more fossils that are found around here? And try and remember those 3 words for me: igneous, metamorphic, and sedimentary. Cheers, see you later.
Bye!
Igneous, sedimentary, metamorphic. Igneous, sedimentary, metamorphic. It's clear to see. If you are an ick, you went through the fire. If you are a set, you went squashed, flat, flat. If you are a mat, you used to be either shoop, shoop, doo-doo, shoop, shoop, doo-doo. And this is how the rock song goes. Yeah, shoop, shoop, doo-doo, shoop,